It is sometimes known as the Japanese LS swap. It's been dropped into everything from a 240SX to a Lotus Elise, and it's the power plant that has kept the gutted Honda Civics absolutely bussing Corvettes on a 40 roll for years. Today we are looking at the Honda K series and why it is so good. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean, and today we are talking about the K20 and the K24 engines and why they are dope. But before we jump right in, make sure you hit that like button down below. It is the single biggest thing that helps this channel grow, so before we go any further, go ahead and give me that thumbs up. And if you want to see more awesome car content like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out. We are building a really great community right now, and I would love for you guys to be a part of it. Now, you can't really talk about the K series without mentioning the Honda Civic. The first generation of the Honda Civic was released in July of 1972 with a 1.2-liter four-cylinder engine. Inspiring, right? Because of the 1973 oil crisis, the demand for small, efficient cars was absolutely through the roof, so these cars sold like hotcakes. They also had the ability to run on both leaded and unleaded fuels, so this helped boost sales even more. The second gen Civic launched in 1979 with either a 1.3-liter or a 1.5-liter engine. Both were engineered with what Honda would call lean burn swirl technology. This essentially meant that the engines could run extremely lean. Most normal engines need 14.5 parts air to 1 part fuel, whereas these engines could run at a 65-to-1 ratio. This meant that you could still run the engine while only using drops of fuel, operating 4 to 5 times more efficiently. The third gen came and went in 1983 with a body redesign and a couple new engines, but really nothing to write home about. In 1987, the fourth gen Civic SIR was unveiled with the shiny new B16A, which featured electronic fuel injection, but more importantly, the introduction of VTEC. The fifth generation was released for the 1992 model year and introduced the EG hatch. This is one of the all-time greats when it comes to the Civic hatchback lineup. But it wasn't until the sixth generation in 1995 that the 1.8-liter version of the B series would become available in the very first Civic Type R. And it was only available in Japan because America, right? Now there's a lot of debate between the B series and the K series, but if you ask me, there's really no comparison there. The smallest displacement of the K series was 2 liters flat, and the largest displacement of the B series was 1.8 liters. If you want to debate me, leave a comment down below, we can talk about it. In the year 2000, the 7th gen Civic was born, and with it, the K20. These engines would carry the Honda lineup for the next 15 years or so. The K20 was offered in everything from the Civic and Accord to the Acura RSX Type S. And the K24 was available in larger models such as the Honda CR-V as well as the Odyssey minivan. Now there are way more variants of the K series than I can mention in this video, but the notable ones that you'll want to get your hands on for performance reasons would be the K20 A1, A2, and A3, as well as the K24 A2 and A4. If you really want to see all the models that came with the K series engine, you can find them on Wikipedia, just like I did for this video. Should I keep that? No? Cut it? Okay, let's move on. So now let's talk about why the K series is so good. When you compare it to other 4-cylinder engines that make decent power, such as the 4G63 or the EJ25, the K series can make similar or even more power, but you can do that on a stock bottom end. And when you look at it from an NA perspective, there's really not much that will beat a K24. In stock configuration, a K series can make anywhere from 200 to 220 horsepower at the wheels. With a cam upgrade, a standalone ECU, and a tune, you can get to the 250 wheel horsepower mark. And with something like E85 or even water meth injection, you can get to 300 horsepower relatively easily. Now, if you want to get spicy with it, there's always the option of slapping on a spinning boy so you can get some of that boost. The K24 is known for being able to hold 400 to 500 horsepower on a stock bottom end with mild boost, something in that 12 to 15 psi range. Sure, you'll probably still need cams, injectors, and maybe a fuel pump, but you won't have to worry about spinning a bearing or bending a rod at 400 horsepower. And if you do want to disassemble the block and rebuild it with forged internals, then the sky is the limit for the amount of power you can make. 800 horsepower would not be out of the question on a fully built block, a big turbo, high boost, and E85. So when it comes to usability for these engines, you've really got a couple of different routes you can go. If you want a high revving engine that you can spin out above 8,000 RPM, then you're going to want to go with the K20. If you want something with a bit more torque, a greater mid-range punch, and a wider power band, then you'll go with the K24. Now, one of the biggest advantages of the K series is the absolutely massive aftermarket. You can pretty much get any type of cam, piston, intake manifold, exhaust manifold, turbo, independent throttle bodies. Like, if you want it, somebody makes it. So say you've got a car that didn't come with a K series from the factory, but now you're considering swapping. Well, there's no need to worry because there are swap kits for just about every single chassis out there. If you have pretty much any Honda, there's a kit for it. You got a BMW E30? K Miata has a kit. You got a 240SX? Toge Factory has a kit. FRS or BRZ? Pure Automotive has a kit. They've even got a standalone ECU and a full custom wiring harness that will just eliminate the entire CAN bus difficulty that comes with engine swapping the 86 platform. So if you're thinking about K swapping whatever car you've got, there's really no reason to wait. Another huge benefit of going with a K motor as opposed to something like a 2JZ or even an SR20 is that because so many cars were available with the K series, these things are stupid cheap. If you were to buy a wrecked donor vehicle, you could get the engine for basically free once you part out the rest of the donor. If you just want to buy an engine straight up, you can find a K20 for $800 on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and a K24 will run you a little bit closer to $1,000. And considering 2Js are selling for like $5 to $6 grand right now, the K swap is seeming more and more appealing. Now, if you are dead set on swapping a K series, but money is no objection, then independent companies such as 4Piston will sell you a fully built K series motor. For $7,000 or $8,000, you can get an NA block that will make 300 horsepower at the wheels. And for double that, they'll give you a 500 horsepower naturally aspirated motor that revs to the moon at like 11 or 12,000 RPM. So for all you front wheel drive, all motor drag racers out there, the K swap ain't no slouch. But that is going to wrap it up for this episode, guys. Leave me a comment down below what you think about the Honda K series. Would you ever consider doing a K swap in your car? Also, what engine or car do you guys want me to talk about next? I've already got a bunch on the list, so make sure you've got notifications turned on so you don't miss out when I post another video. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you leave it a like down below. If you want to see more from me, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you guys on the next one.